the first ever MPU Live presents Speak Your Truth with yours truly, Vivett Dukes. I'm honored to be here in front of you tonight. I'm always honored when I get to just share space with people and spend time connecting with, like minds and genuine hearts. And just in this time of quarantine, I thought it was super important for us to get together, have a convening a space where we can talk about issues that are affecting a variety of marginalized groups of people. If you know anything about me, my platform, Speak Your Truth, I am very much an advocate for those who are impacted by um, mass incarceration, those who are impacted by this prison industrial complex, and COVID-19 and the coronavirus and this current global pandemic that we're experiencing has me thinking about this population all the more, really reaching out, not just them, all marginalized groups of people. Like how are we making it through during this time? What is really going on? How are people dealing with not only the larger issues of their health, like the life or death stuff, but the things that may seem mundane to some, like where am I getting food from? Where am I? We don't have any more Lysol or any more disinfectant, or my kids are driving me crazy. I don't have an outlet. Where is the space for that? So I'm grateful to the National Parents Union for really joining forces with me, with my husband John, with Speak Your Truth, to say, let's elevate this marginalized group of people who really have been like left out. So welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. Um, I have two really amazing guests tonight for you. So just to let you know, I'm going to be doing Speak Your Truth. I'm so excited. I'm smiling from ear to ear. This is a really big deal. It's just like very official, and I'm just really very, very grateful for the platform. We're going to be meeting Mondays and Thursdays from airing rather Mondays and Thursdays from 7:30 p.m. Eastern time to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you like what you hear tonight, if you appreciate the vibe, then definitely tell others to come on in and share space with us. And we are in the National Parents Union, and it's about family. It's about getting together and hearing multiple voices. Tonight, one of our guests, our first guest actually, I'm going to read her beautiful bio that she wrote. She says, my name is Emeka Patterson Gertie. I'm 15 years old, from Philly. And when I asked her, like, okay, so tell me a little bit more about yourself, she said, oh, I'm a performing artist. So I said, oh, really? Tell me about that. She said, yes, I attended performing arts high school in Philly, and basically she's dope. So we are going to hear from Mecca now. Come on in, Mecca. Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself besides that wonderful intro you started us off with?
No, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I see you representing the Dominican Republic, if I'm correct. I see
Oh,
that
you already know. You
background.
already know.
No doubt. I like that. I like that a lot. So Mecca is the daughter of my homegirl Maritza. I met Maritza in January, and we just vibed together. We hung out. Your mom is mad cool. I'm sure you know that already. And so when I was formulating this show, I reached out to, other people in the National Parents Union, like, Does anyone know of any young people, teenagers? Because I noticed that in so many of our broadcasts, there was that voice wasn't there, right? Like that voice for what's going on with my, like, say 12 to 21, that range right there. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been hearing a lot. So your mom said, oh, my daughter Mecca would definitely be interested. So can you just, like, I want us to just flow, honestly. Like, can you
Okay.
just tell me, like, what it's been like for you with the coronavirus pandemic, like with school, with everything, whatever you want to share?
Okay. When I first found out about the quarantine, they said we would be away from school for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So for me, I was like, "Hey, okay, no school for 2 weeks. Like this about to be popping or whatever, right?" And me and my friends were all hyped. So I left school early that day, but then my friends texted me and they were like, "Oh, Mecca, they made an announcement over the speakers that that we're going to be closed for 2 weeks because of the coronavirus." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So the first week I was fine, like I was good. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm staying home. Don't gotta be in school. Like I'm great, right?" Second week I was like, "Okay, okay." And then after the second week they said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna stay home for a month now." I said, "What?" I cannot stay home for another month. I love my family so much, but just being home just with them and not seeing any of my friends and not interacting with other people really affects me because I know for me personally, like with my mental health, I flourish and I feel better as a person when I'm near other people and when I get to communicate and be around other people. And especially as a teenager, well, even as a human being, it's good for you to be around other people so you can feel good. So just being home has made me sometimes feel like not myself, and it made me feel in a depressed state for a little bit. So, and just continuously doing the same thing over and over again, it's like when I was at school, I had a schedule and what I could do in the day. But then now I have all this free time and I don't even know what I should do with it.
You know, one thing I didn't mention, I'm a teacher also.
Mm-hmm.
So I work in a middle and high school in Jamaica, Queens. And so I understand what you're saying in terms of the vibing off of people and the social component to life. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one of the reasons I really like teaching, is because I really still remember that time of life, being that preteen, a teenager, all the energy that you will bring to the table, like, is just so much there. And so to not have that now feels like a big part of my world has just been removed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, what grade are you in?
Oh, I'm in ninth grade.
You're not. Okay, so in terms of your, like, work and stuff, what has that been like for you to transition from going to your classes and stuff to now just, what is it like? What's your online learning experience like?
Online learning is actually harder than being in the class. I thought you would be like, oh yeah, like I'd rather be in school. I'd rather be in school and learn. I mean, some online school, not for everybody, but me personally, I just don't like it because I really feel like I'm not reciprocating the information like I'm supposed to be. Like I'm reading and I'm writing and I'm doing my work, but I feel like I'm not intaking the information like I would have when I'm being at school. And also I feel like the teachers, they send an email saying, "Oh, we understand you guys are going through things," and then they're sending us a million things to do, and I say, "So how is this even helping me?" You know? So especially with math, but but a lot of teachers, they're actually really nice and supportive, and they said that as long as I get my work done by a certain time, well, they said I don't need to get my work done by the due dates as long as I'm doing something, and then I'm asking for help, then I can spend any time I want.
Right. Because there's so many different, like, variables to take into consideration
Mm-hmm.
that I feel the same way. As long as I see you on some type of consistent basis, logging on, you're communicating. You know, if I send you an email, you respond to it. I think that's a sign to me that you're at least on the pulse of what is going on. But it's definitely a challenge to learn and to teach like this. Do you get to, like, how is it with, like, social media and your friends, or are y'all FaceTiming? Are you TikToking? You know, that's all the rage. What do y'all?
In the beginnings of quarantine, I was definitely doing TikToks every day. But I FaceTime my friends mostly every day. It's just it's really weird. It's just not the same being with them, connecting with them personally in person than being on the phone. But my mom was telling me that I need to that I should be talking to somebody every day just to like help with stuff, you know, because you never know what somebody else is going through right now, even though we're not with each other. You should still check up on people.
Yeah, I was just reading an article recently, right before the show, actually, in preparation, saying that the mental health of our young Black Latinx girls, especially, we need where they're overlooked. A young lady was saying how her daughter actually committed suicide, and she overlooked. Yeah, it was very. I wasn't expecting that when I read it either, but it reminded me of something that I don't think we're really seeing enough of. What's going on with our youth? Because we tend to think like that they're okay, like they're home, they're fine. What could be wrong? They have food, they have a shelter over their heads, they don't have to get up and go to school every day. What's wrong? But it's so much more complex than that. And I just really want to make sure that our young people are not being overlooked, and that there's a space here on Speak Your Truth with, for you to do that. Speak up, what's going on, air it out, because I know that that space is important for all of us, but especially as a teenager. You're very vocal at that age, very outspoken, and to not have someone to really, talk to like that can be rough.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any tips? Like, well, what are some things that you would say to other teenagers out there who are experiencing this pandemic right along with you?
The tips that I have for other teenagers that's going through this right now, I guess just I know sometimes for me, I don't think that I feel like sometimes if I express my feelings, it don't matter, but they 100% do. If you feel like your feelings don't matter, they do to somebody. So talk to somebody in your family, talk to one of your good friends, and do things that can help you like creatively, like you can write, do poetry, listen to your favorite song, you know, make your own videos, do little things that you love to do, because just being in that depressed headspace for so long really gets to you, and it's really gonna eat you up inside. So help talking to somebody is really gonna help you a lot, and you won't even realize until you do it.
Wow. Okay. So I hope everyone heard that. Mecca Patterson Purity. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're saying it right.
Really words of wisdom, from our youth. We can learn so much. If there's anything I've learned from working with teenagers this past decade, is that they have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of wisdom in their own right to share if we just give them an opportunity to listen, to learn from them, to give them an outlet to speak. And I love what you're saying, like talk to somebody, because just holding it in, that's not going to help.
Mm-hmm.
Find some kind of outlet, writing, drawing, whatever it is. What's it like being home? I know you said like, oh, I love my family. You're really good. Like, what is that like? Just like you said, seeing the same people. What has that been like for you?
For me, I have younger siblings, so there is one 4-year-old, one 3-year-old, and one 6-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really. I mean, I can talk to them, but we can't go in depth. Like, okay, so I'm not feeling good. Like, they're gonna be like, "Oh, what's wrong?" But I can't really go in depth in conversation with them about what's going on with me. I've been talking to my mom and dad a lot, and my mom and dad, we've been going on walks and stuff with our dog, and taking rides around and stuff like that. Just keeping our distance from other people, but actually going outside and just getting air, because being in the house for so long is just tiring. But my siblings, it's different for me than it is for my siblings, because they have each other and they're young, so they don't really understand what's going on right now. They just think we're just staying home. But for me, I know that I don't have somebody that's my age that I can talk to and communicate with that's on the same level as me, unless I'm talking to my friend on the phone. But it's kind of hard not having somebody here with me to converse with.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mecca, we would love to have you back anytime to share your performing arts. Yeah, tell us about your performing arts. What kind of performing arts do you do? Yes, I need to know.
So I go to the Philadelphia High School for the Creative and Performing Arts. and I auditioned to get in, and I did 2 monologues and I sang a song. I'm a theater major at my school, so at my school they have theater majors, dance majors, creative writers, and they have vocalists and instrumentalists.
Mm.
So all different types of kids from all over the city, they all go to that school. We all we all showcase our art
Yes.
there. Yeah. So besides doing theater, I act, I sing, and I do poetry.
Wow. So you'll definitely have to be back because I write and recite poetry too. And I sing too. So both my husband and I love the arts. We're really big supporters of the arts in general. He loves music, live music. I love performing arts and spoken word. So like I really encourage you, keep like use this time to really like tap in and explore, write about your how you're feeling. I do it a lot. Look at my journal
Oh,
next to me. I'm like always writing when thoughts and things come to me. So like I'm telling you stuff that I really do too, because I think if most adults are being honest, the same things that you have expressed, that you experience, we're experiencing it too. Missing our friends, whether it be our co-workers, friends, family, whatever it is, we're missing that human contact. We're connected. And like struggling, like, well, what to do now that I'm sitting with myself for so long? What is it that I'm supposed to do now? Getting bored, you know? So thank you for sharing those strategies, things we could do to just kind of uplift ourselves and tap into our creativity.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mecca. It's
Thanks
been
for
a
having me.
pleasure. You're welcome. Take care. Tell your mom I said hi. I'm sure she's on. She's
Okay.
in there cheering you on. Take care, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Wow, our first official guest on National Parents Union Presents Speak Your Truth. That is so amazing. Thank you so much, Mecca. And I hope we heard, like, for those of us that have the privilege of being around young people all the time, what Mecca has said might not be such a profound thing. But to those who really don't have that pleasure, you know, of being around young people like that and really just seeing their zeal and their zest and the joy for life, it's so refreshing. Yeah, they have their issues and everything too, like every generation does. But I think now more than ever, one of the things as we are sheltered in, as some of us are, like Mecca and her family, inside with multiple generations, right? Younger kids, preteens, teenager, parents. Are we getting together and talking to each other, or are we still separated? Now, I'm not talking about separated for the purposes of, you know, not spreading things, but if you're residing in a house together, I think it's super important that we find the time to spend with each other, whomever the dynamic, whoever makes up the dynamic of your family. Definitely want to spend some time together, um, talking with each other, really speaking, getting to know each other in a deeper way. That's what I've had the privilege to do with my next guest. My next guest is a person I know very well. He's an amazing human being, in my very biased opinion. And when I think about a parent and the extent that a parent will go to remain in their child's life, despite circumstances that may separate them, which is the case, unfortunately, for far too many families. But those parents that really fight to stay in their children's lives, whatever the obstacle may be trying to separate them, I have so much respect for parents like that. And so many things can separate parents and children. Sometimes they're physical barriers, sometimes emotional barriers, harm done that causes emotional separations. But those parents that can really say, you know what, you're my child, I love you. I'm always going to be there for you, and really do that. I applaud them. And as a parent myself, it's not easy to do. It really isn't. So this man I'd like to introduce to you tonight is my husband, John Dukes. John.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, honey.
So it's a pleasure to be interviewed by you.
Thanks. It's good to see you. This is my husband,
I want to give you a
John.
kiss, but I'm trying
You can kiss. It's fine. Thank you. We're real here on National Parents Union and Speak Your Truth. I could read your bio. Should I read your bio for you?
You're the host.
I've said wonderful things about you already, all true. So when I asked John, because I had a bio already written, like I said, I know him. So I was like, oh, I can write something about him. But then I said no after Mecca gave me her bio. I said, oh, well, let me give John the opportunity to say what he wants about himself. And this is what he did. He said, John Dukes is a faithful husband, father, and friend. He advocates for those impacted by mass incarceration through his work with the Marshall Project. This work is very personal to him as he was formerly incarcerated. John is a lover of the arts, and in his spare time, he enjoys doing landscaping and creating floral arrangements. As you see the beautiful flowers that we have behind us here. I said at the beginning of the show. Yeah, okay. You gave it to me so they know. So John, could you tell us, I mentioned a little bit about yourself, about you, yes. To the viewers, telling them about your parenting of your daughter through really harrowing times, challenging times, because right now we're in challenging times in all walks of life, like in a lot of relationships, but definitely parents are feeling it, whether the relationship with their children is growing or whether it's being separated. There are definitely a lot of things going on regarding parenting. So what wisdom could you share with us, or telling us a little bit about what you've learned in your journey as a parent?
That no matter where you're at, you should be available to your child. I learned that the love never dies, no matter what it goes through. If once you're loving your child, that love never goes away. So I learned that no matter what happens, you should never let anything be a barrier between that. That's what I would say that I learned, one of the most important things, because your child always needs you.
Right.
Your child or your children, they will always need you. In my case, I had my one biological child at the time, Alexis, and it never stopped. Our love never stopped. I know she would need me, and that's what I take from that.
So for those that don't know, John we have 3 children between us. We don't have any biological children together. We have a blended family, all adults, children. So there's Alexis, John's daughter, and then there's Christian, my son, and then Sarita, my daughter. And so I was saying to the viewers how I really admire parents like you who have had obstacles separating their children, them and their kids, but still really fought, really hard to remain in their child's life and develop a relationship with them. And likening that to, what's going on now with barriers that may be there between kids and their, parents. So even though I'm going to share this, even though our children are young adults in their 20s, what do you do? I'll let you share it. What do you do every day to our girls to keep in touch? Like what? Because he walks the walk. Like he's not just, you're welcome. He's not just saying it. Like I get the privilege of doing life with him and seeing how he engages our kids. And a lot of times I'm like, Dad, I need to step step my parenting up because John really is like a really good dad. What do you do, babe?
Well, first, before I answer that, I want to say that Vivett is an amazing wife. She's an amazing mother. And I'm very proud of you. I wanted to say that when I first came on. So I need to say that to the viewers because they don't get a chance to see you as I see you on a personal note.
Thank you.
And you're a very honest woman, you know, admirable in a lot of ways. You know, it's admirable of you on how you are, just how you are. So having said that, you are an amazing mother, amazing parent, and that's why we celebrated you yesterday. You are an amazing mother and parent. And what I do on a regular with our children, I text them or call them before in the morning time every morning. You know, they're in their 20s, so you know every morning I call them. Every night, so I say good morning to them and I say good night to them. But periodically throughout the day, I may send digital flowers or comments, you know, or we may speak on the phone. And with my eldest daughter, a lot of times I'm able to catch up because Sarita, our youngest daughter, she's normally sleeping sometimes at those times, at those hours. So Vivett actually gets the chance to speak to Sarita more than me sometimes. But I speak to her every day through whatever communication I can give her, whether it's text or verbally on the phone. And so that's what I do every day and every night. And I don't go to bed without speaking to them. You know, I don't wake up without starting my day, without prayer, whatever, and saying, you know, doing our things around the home, Vivett and I. But I always stop and say, Vivett, I slipped. I gotta get in contact with Sarita and Alexis. Like, I may have said, and there's been only once that I had actually like fell asleep where it was too long, but I text maybe 3 a.m. in the morning. I don't care. I don't let it go by.
Yeah. And I love that because, like, you know, they're older and a lot of parents might say, like, oh, well, they're older. They don't really need us to check in like that. But I see the response that our daughters give to you, you know, in terms of, like, really being excited about the text, even if they say, oh, it's cordial. Oh, you know, that text or whatever is just really nice that they have that. And even we had our last guest, Mecca, she was saying a teenager in Philly, a really beautiful young lady for 15. And she was saying like, she misses the human interaction. So having those texts and having that form of communication is something because that's all we have right now, you know, outside of a family. So, yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
So I wanted you also to talk to us a little bit about how Speak Your Truth came to be. I didn't really introduce any of that because I wanted to wait for you. But Speak Your Truth it's been around since, well, at least for me in this forum, since 2017, but it was born way before then. Had like a birth and then a rebirth, right? And then
I was born before then.
Yeah. So would you like to just talk to us a little bit about how Speak Your Truth came to be for you, and then I'll share how it came to be for me.
No, it was absolutely. For me, I was going through a dark time in the sense of I was in prison. I was in jail, actually. Well, I didn't even make it to prison yet. I was in jail. And for those who don't know, jail is different from prison. You know, so it needs that.
Do you want to clarify that?
Yeah, well, jail is basically, you for most people that understand this, to simplify it, is that you're waiting to be either your fate, whether it's going to prison, to stay a long time, but you still have the hope of saying, well, I'm just being detained right now. Right. I'm still very much free or innocent to proving guilty, even though I'm being held.
Right.
You know, so you're not necessarily a convict yet, you know, you're just being detained. So having said that, I was there and in that part of my life, and it was about 14 months not even about. Let me be truthful because that's what it is. Speaking truth. Let me be truthful. Is
well,
that
you know, one would hope.
No, it was 14 months. No, because I do know the accuracy
So,
of it. I'm just
oh, you're
trying
trying to talk proper and
down,
stuff?
like,
Oh,
it was.
no, we don't
It
do
was
that
14
here.
months.
Okay.
In 14 months, I went through this agony of not seeing Alexis, not being able to speak to her, and it was just terrible. So, but in those times, God was building up my faith, you know, and I was on a journey of reading the Bible and getting to know God more. What was this life about? Why was I here? And I was praying, but I was praying to God the way I thought that I should pray to God, you know, because no one thinks of, if you believe in God, to think like, you don't say foul things or bad things per se to God. That's right. God. You're supposed to say proper things. It's like how you see your mother. Yes, man. How are you? And then you may have the brown bag behind your back, but not in front.
Right.
So to speak. So I was there praying to God like that. Oh God, please forgive her mother at the time for not allowing her to come up to see me or whatever the case is. And I just kept praying these what I call pretty prayers. Until one day, it had got so bad for me that I had to cry out to God and speak my truth. And that day for me, that was my testimony even for myself, because it sealed it for me even more so for my walk for God, because in that minute, that hour, that day, instantly I was able to not see my daughter, but hear her voice, because I spoke my truth to God. So then I realized that, oh, that's the key to success. Being truthful, being honest, speaking your truth. You have to really talk this, because it unlocks something greater than what you try to hide these things. It's like a person saying, oh, I'm good, I got a lot of money, I'm good, I'm doing this, but they really don't have anything. You have the money, you have the means, you may have helped that person, but because they said all this, you said, well, he's good, he has stuff, why would I offer him anything or her? Because they spoke themselves out of their own destiny or out of their own truth.
They weren't honest about the fact that, well, they're not really good, but we're just so used. And I think that's something, like, you touched on something really important there, at least so he gave that gift of speaking your truth to me. So once John and I knew each other before we grew up together. I'm going to talk to the people because me and I know. Yeah. So John and I, we grew up together, like from middle school throughout high school. Even some of our young adulthood, we would, see each other, keep in touch with each other. And then John went to prison, and unfortunately, when people go to prison, they often are forgotten about. That's what happens. That's the sad truth. Hopefully, it's something that can be changed, that will be changed over time. First of all, we'll stop incarcerating so many people, and we'll just stop forgetting about human life, because that's really what is happening. And so unfortunately, as ashamed as I am to say it to an extent, I did forget about John. Life went on, and we got reconnected through a mutual friend of ours. Shout out Mr. Pablo Sinclair, because he is the one who really reconnected us, and I'll never forget that about him. And through us reconnecting, I would go to visit John, right? We started writing each other, and then I eventually went up to the prison to visit him. First of all, I was really curious, because remember, I told you we grew up together, knew each other, and then he went away. And by this time, it had been like 15, 16 years since I'd seen him. So yeah, we talk on the phone and he sounds okay, and his letters seem right. But I'm like, if he's even writing them, who knows what's going on inside.
Remember the first letter I wrote you? What I said? How I said, yo, I'm not gay, or I'm not this. Like,
oh yeah, he definitely
not gay.
I haven't been tampered with.
Tampered with because of the stereotypes that come with prison.
right.
and things like that. And I knew you didn't know anything about that, but I was saying a lot of things like Gene, very transparent.
Yes, he was very
things that were
forthcoming.
kind of like, I think offbeat for most people. Most people would be like, well, why would you even
Why are you telling me that?
I told you all of these
Because at
things.
that point it was no like, feelings expressed or anything besides like, no, it's okay. Besides like, oh, this is my friend. And so as I came to visit John more and more and our love for each other developed, there's a lot. I don't know how many of you there have ever had to visit anyone who's in prison, but that experience is one I honestly wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. My experience with the prison system really has been a negative one in terms of the treatment, the way like people are just not treated like human beings at all. And so oftentimes going there, I would be going through like a range of emotions. And I remember a correctional officer like doing something that I felt was unnecessary. That's something that's common, like doing something like you're just messing with me at this point. There's no reason for you to be doing what you're doing except to exert your power over me, really is what it was. And so I'm sitting in the chair and, John is next to me like we are now. And she's like ahead and I'm like, oh, I wish she would. I wish she would come over here and say something to me. Oh, no. And
you meant that though.
I did mean it, yeah, but then thinking ahead, like I really don't mean it because she has the power to, terminate my visit and now we come back again. I really don't want any problems. So I'm speaking like that, but I really shouldn't be, and I didn't mean it. And so that was one of the times when John was like, well, do you really mean that? And he kind of challenged me on that. And I think we're used to saying, I'll speak for myself, I'm used to saying a lot of things that I might not necessarily mean it like that, right? I'm just speaking off the cuff, but not really speaking the sentiments of my heart, not the core of what I really want. He said, I remember this. He was like, you don't really mean that. What you really mean is, I wish this lady would just leave us alone. Because I just came up here to have a visit, with my husband. So that him bringing me to that truth, with Speak Your Truth, was really, really, really memorable for me. It's something that even now when I find myself like just talking, there are times when I reel myself in like, you know what, is that what you really mean, Vivett? Because like you said, you can be speaking yourself out of something, So
that was good.
Yeah, that was good. It's good to recall things, I think that's one of the things, another strategy during this time of the pandemic. If you are fortunate to be sheltered in with someone that you love and care about and have a good relationship with, really reminiscing, taking those trips down memory lane and the good, the bad, seeing how far you've come. It can be really strengthening, and not just for couples, for families to do, for parents to do with their children, just in general, telling them stories, about when they were younger. I know in one of the broadcasts earlier, you were speaking with the dads about telling Alexis a story of her birth over and over again, to the point where she was like, Dad, tell me, it's become a tradition, now. So, what else would you like to share? There's so much, right? It's so
a lot. I mean,
in terms of the sheltering in, so let me frame that a little bit better for you. What would you like to share with people who are watching this saying, well, if with your experience of being incarcerated, what tips could you give to us about being sheltered in, about having to kind of be in somewhat of a confined situation?
I would answer that. There's many things I could say, but I don't want to be insensitive, because I know that just by saying technology alone, that you have technology, people that never been without technology can't understand what you're talking about just trying to gain some gratitude from technology being in existence. Sometimes that's not enough to say.
Yeah.
But what I will say,
yeah, because Mecca was just saying the technology is good, but the technology can't take the place of the human time.
Okay, yes.
So
I'm glad I start off by saying that. So okay, that's good. So what I would say is that when I was incarcerated, I was incarcerated and I was locked up one time inside of it being incarcerated. Let me explain what I mean by that. Because there's like 3 different levels that I know about. 2, I would say, that I know about in being incarcerated. 1, besides the normal that you're locked up, but when you're locked up, you can be locked up inside the prison where you're on keep lock for 23 hours a day and get 1 hour rent. When you're locked up, you can be locked up in a shoe, in a box, and you also will be locked up basically like keep lock. But the difference is you're removed from population where you're not on a tier where I've been locked at, where there's tiers and cells aligned with each other, where you're not there, where you can pass things around because you're in a box, in a shoe. So I was locked up one time, I remember, while I was incarcerated. So being locked down, what I did, and I can liken it to this situation, is that I got dressed. Like, people make a big deal about visits when we're in prison. A visit is a big deal. So a man that doesn't get dressed all the time in prison, maybe wear his uniform, whatever the case may be that they give him, when it comes to a visit, for the most part, even if they don't own nothing, they're gonna iron there or try to have, even if not iron, put it on the mattress and have it, we improvise, and have those things creased up or, nicely ironed, and you're wearing your best. So people would come by from the yard and be like, "Oh, yo, brother John, you locked up? I know, man. Where you got a haircut? You got, I was getting my haircut still. I was cutting my hair. I was dressed up like I was going to a visit." And they would ask me like, "Yo, you going to visit today?" I said, "Listen, I don't need to get dressed this time I'm going to visit." But what I was doing, I was actually allowing myself to not only, which is important, mentally travel, but I was also physically taking the initiative to pamper myself. What a younger man at the time would call kissing yourself. He said, "Oh, I see you kissing yourself today, brother, because you're taking care of yourself." Those are the things that I think when you're in a quarantine situation, there's things you like to do. You should still do those things.
Still do that.
I watched on a Zoom party, they had backgrounds changing, the technology changing, like they were in Paris, New York.
Our producer just had a really nice background now before we came on. We came on before the show.
Oh, I'm on time, man. I'm
Natasha said, "Oh, where are you?" She had a bridge in the background, and we were transported somewhere else.
These are things you can do. So now I will bring up this last one. I will close with this because you may want to ask me something else. Is that so in doing all of that? No, not that I'm exiting now, but I mean exiting this question. so no, what I was gonna say is that, I like yesterday, I was able to do something for my wife where I don't have to get into specifics. It's not for me to tell. It was her gift, but I was able to transform our reality to a different reality. To even where part of it was a role play, but to be convincing, I had to dress the part as a waiter, acted all the way out to the fullest. No, I'm not your husband right now. I'm Franz. I'm the waiter, the maitre d', and we went through the whole thing. And why I bring that up is because that's also things you can do right now.
Okay.
You can in journals. I wrote a lot. Right.
So changing your environment.
Yes.
By doing what?
Okay. When you're living at home, I only had a little cell where I would change the sheets. Or in the home, you can actually move the furniture around. You can actually go from one. Yes. Feng shui.
Okay.
Wearing, like I said, wearing clothing that I like, getting dressed. It's very important.
Okay.
Your hygiene, getting dressed, taking care of your hair, whatever you can do. Because everybody can't do those things. I get it. but maybe wearing a hat you like. Some people like to crook to the side, or like how D Nice is doing the zoom.
Yes,
Like
it's chat change.
Yeah. You can do all these things within yourself, that you can do these things and make yourself come alive and be alive.
And definitely with journaling, I said before, I have my journal here. Yes. Write down things. Writing. Yeah, definitely. Wow.
Music. Whatever you like, you should get more into it. Changing old habits. That was one thing I did. I did a lot of typing at the time on a typewriter, because that's what they had there to offer. I had a typewriter myself. I was typing up business plans, things that I wanted to do or achieve.
So those things, those dreams, things that you've had laying inside of you, perhaps you want to take this time to get them out of you, whatever that is. If it's writing poetry and acting and singing, like Mecca was telling us she did in the segment before. Yes. Whether it's whatever it is, just get it out of you. And you'll see that like birthing it is something that you can be doing during this time. If you have the time to do it.
And look, I want to see Mecca too, because I didn't see. Being a guest, I didn't get a chance to see the show. I want to see the show.
So you have to log in and see the comments. Oh, so you want to leave the couch?
No, I want to see the show too. Yes.
But no.
Yes.
No, thank you for that, John. Yeah, it was. She was really great, really a great guest. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing what you went through in a tormented situation has now come to really be a help. I know it's definitely, I say this often, I'm sheltered in with the perfect person for it, because the perspective that you've given me about just how to look at this situation. So the first week, I said this on Marisol's show, the first week I was like bugging out a little bit. At the end of the first week, I was like, all right, this is getting, to me, I was watching way too much news. I was getting like losing myself. Yeah. And my husband had to say, Vivett, you're not locked in. Like, think about it. You can get up. You can walk outside, you can drive your car somewhere, like, are you, like, stop. And he had to kind of, not in an insensitive way, but in a way to reframing my mind about what I'm thinking about what it is that being sheltered in really means. So Mecca gave us some great strategies. Now you've come on and given us some great strategies.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I'm really honored.
Thank you. We have like 10 minutes left. You're welcome to hang out. No, you're welcome to hang out if you want to. If you have things to do. No, you're our only guest for tonight. So Mecca, yes, you're our second guest for tonight. So one of the things that I really wanted us to talk about more, I'm going to turn my attention this way now. One of the things that I wanted to really talk about more here is this. One of the things I'm going through now is being home, needing money to stretch. So I'm really fortunate. John and I are really fortunate that we're both still gainfully employed. And we know we're really fortunate in that way, that is not everyone's reality. And even both being gainfully employed, I'm still, stretching it, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, wanting to stretch, still having this making sure that we have in case, what if things get worse? What if what if we don't have? So during our segment here, I definitely want to show you some of the deals that I've gotten, some of the stories behind the deals that I've gotten, and hopefully sharing with you where you can go to find some of these deals, because I love a good deal. All my ladies out there who love a good deal, please put them up. There's just something about getting a good deal, knowing I saved. Oh, look what I got for this price, right? And then also there's something to providing for your family, knowing yes, I want to make sure that my family is good. We're nurturers, right? That they're taken care of, that we're not without, that we have to give to other members of our community who might not have, who might not be able to get out to the store. So when I see it in the store, they don't have to go because we have it in our home. Do you mind bringing some of the the stuff that I've gotten?
Yes.
So, I I try to only go out like once a week to really stay in with the sheltering in place. Like, so I'll go like to the post office. And then in the beginning of the quarantining, things like disinfectant, couldn't find it. Finding it on Amazon when it was there for like $60, $70 for one bottle. Who can play that? That's too much. One of the small Lysol ones too. Please, a little. So yeah, please, thank you.
Yes.
So I was looking online, couldn't find anything, or what I found was just way out of my price point. And I'm like, well, what are people doing? If you're watching the news, you're saying, listen, you have to get things clean, you have to disinfect, you can't find it. That's another level of stress right there. When we talk about, oh, what is everyone so stressed about, or what are people doing? These are the things that can really, get to you. If you're saying people need a clean environment, then what are they using to clean their stuff with? And that's just, one example. Because you can go and get food. There's food lines. There are pantries. The schools are giving out food. I've yet to see anybody giving out any type of cleaners, disinfects for your space. So one of my places that I love, and I'm not doing free promos for these products. I'm just going to briefly show you them. But I love Dollar Tree. I'm not going to front at all. I love Dollar Tree because everything in there is really $1. There are some dollar stores where it's not $1. And I noticed that this is one thing I have to say. In the hood, they have so many things. Oh my God, in the hood, there's so much there in the hood. That's another segment for another day, but I can really appreciate the resilience and the resources that are right there. The way people make $1 out of 15 cents and make things stretch. So if you don't have any cleaners or things, the Lysol that they're selling for how much on Amazon that Amazon doesn't have, Dollar Tree has these. This makes 5 gallons right here for $1. When I found this, I was like really, really excited. Now this, I was able to find price gouged as it was, but they have these. I know, don't come for me, y'all. Don't come, because the last time I posted stuff, people are like, yeah, let's. Yes, you have to go. If you live in the hood, like just go into the certain places, okay? They have them there, you know what I mean? They have the stores in the hood. So for me, on Jamaica Avenue in Queens, come on now. They have things there. That they don't have at Stop and Shop or in the fancy schmancy places. Hello? It's in the hood. That's where I got it from. Hello, people. You need this in your life. Yeah, do. John, you want to say something? I don't clean. He's the one who cleans the house. To be fair, let me just disclosure, transparency. I'm making sure that I have the supplies needed because he's the one who's, doing it. What do you want to say, John, about this topic?
Well, in the quarantine, I'm never bored. I'm always cleaning. Now, no, my cleaning has been stepped up a notch. Vivett has put it up, like put the bar up, raised it up. I thought she was saying, "Oh, I thought you were clean. You're cleaning, but clean more." So this is the one time that I actually get a chance to do things that I do like. I do like cleaning. For us, I'm not.
It's not volunteering services.
Yeah, I don't really want to do a job, make a living out of it. But for us, I do like cleaning. This has been even hard for me because once we come in, we have to. When we do go out, you got to spray. You got to do this, take the clothes off, take the shower differently. Like it's just so many precautions and steps. Feeling like a surgeon, when you're literally just going about your everyday life.
So my thing is take that and imagine going out and then not having the stuff to come home and spray down. But I think just knowing that we have these things does lower a certain it lowers a level of anxiety for me, because I was feeling somewhat anxious. Like, listen, we don't have Lysol wipes. I was even gonna go back in my classroom, like, oh, I know I have some packs of Lysol there, and then I said, well, I was just looking in one places. I was just looking at the big stores, in other words. So what I'm saying to you is, by saying go to the hood, what I'm really saying is, the local mom and pop shops, the places that you're overlooking, the small businesses that are going to need our help coming back, and those that may be still open now, that's where I've been able to find things. Really and truly, I found one and two things on Walmart here and there, and they took weeks to come. Things that were ordered like when the pandemic first started coming into fruition, to our knowledge, like middle March, and they didn't show up until last week. So imagine that I didn't know about going to stores like Dollar Tree, or going to mom and pop shops in the hood. That's where they had it.
Or even the two that we went that were commercial stores that people were looking at the time. Now they're blown up. Staples and even Home Depot was overlooked for certain things that where we were at, and we're like, I was shocked.
Exactly.
Everybody were going to like Sam's Club, and BJ's and all these big supermarkets. So.
Right. You know. So there were lines. There were like long lines to get into Sam's Club. Meanwhile, you could just go to a local store, a local smaller store, not a big franchise, and support them. And even with those stores, you might be able to tell them what you need, like, or when are you going to be able to get this, or they'll be more likely to tell you, oh, our shipment comes in on this day. It's just a more personal, community-oriented relationship. So definitely, even if you have, like I said, $1 at Dollar Tree can get you the Lysol that they're price gouging on Amazon, that they don't even have on Amazon right now. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
That's good.
Yeah, I wanted to share that, definitely. And invite, if you know anyone, yes, let me share this now too, because we have 2 minutes left in the show. Wow, the time went by really quickly. I want to first of all, thank you for our premiere edition of National Parents Union Presents Speak Your Truth.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
you, National Parents Union.
Yes,
Speak Your Truth, which is us.
Yes.
Thank you all.
We thank you for joining us. We thank you for the opportunity. You can definitely please go to nationalparentsunion.org. Please go to speakyourtruth.org. If you have a topic you'd like to discuss, if you'd like to be on this broadcast, please email me at Vivett at npunion.org. I'll be on again on Thursday. So Thursday at 7:30 Eastern time. I'm actually hopping over to Twitter right now for a Twitter chat. Hashtag Safe Space Combos, about us re-entering schools, reimagining schools, what that looks like in the fall. So please, you can go right there from here. Definitely, we appreciate you. Thank you to Mecca. Thank you to John. Thank you to all of you. Be safe. What do I want to say to you? I really want to say to you, whatever your truth is, whatever is going on with you, please find somebody to talk to. If it's someone here at the National Parents Union, reach out. If it's through this broadcast, like whoever is under the sound of my voice right now, just know that I'm thinking of our young people. I'm thinking of people that are marginalized, people that may have someone who's incarcerated who they haven't heard from, or who they may think that they're ill. Just know that you're not alone. You are prayed for, you are cared for, and that there's power in speaking your truth. Don't hold it in. Don't be ashamed. I'll share more with you next time about this journey to speak your truth. It's been a long road, and there's something to it, and so we'll continue to share it. So we thank you, and we will see you next time, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. You're welcome. Good night.